What's up, everybody? Well, this is like my fifth time trying to do this review because I kept getting mad and I started cussing and stuff. So this is my fifth attempt on trying to talk about this topic, which is clones and clone houses. First, as most of y'all know, I'm banned from Facebook again, which I usually used to always like to post my scent of the day, or my fragrance of the day, and my song of the day, but I'm not allowed to do that. I think I have like 18 more days left from being barred from Facebook, but I don't think I might not get back on Facebook to tell you the truth. I'm just sick of them. But I decided every time I do a video or a review, I'm just going to post my fragrance of the day here, which happens to be Mmm, Ultra Zest by Mugler. This is one of my all-time favorite fragrances. It's probably in my top 15, I would say. Um, I love this fragrance. Every time I put it on, I'm like, God, this is like awesome. It's really good. Um, it's perfect for springtime. I wear fragrances anytime I want to, but every time I smell this, it just smells like spring for some reason. There's like a tangerine, orange, mint, patchouli, lavender, chocolate, vanilla, coffee. It's just all really gourmand and it's really sweet, but not a kind of sweet to make you go, ooh. It's just perfect. And the thing I like about this fragrance is I can smell all the notes. I can smell the orange and tangerine and chocolate and vanilla and coffee and patchouli and lavender and mint. There's nothing that overpowers anything else. It's all equal all the way through the life of the fragrance. You're able to smell everything, and it's fantastic. I love it. But tell me what your fragrance of the day is, or whenever you start watching this video, tell me what you're wearing, if anything. And remember, sometimes, it's okay not to wear anything. Um, I don't think I could go a day without wearing a fragrance, but it's okay not to wear fragrances sometimes. But anyway, on to my topic of clones and clone houses. 2 nights ago, I was in the middle of doing a Parfums de Marly review, or actually preparing for the review. I'm doing I was doing six Parfums de Marly fragrances in a row. I think this was going to be my fourth or fifth one. I think my fifth one. Um, so I started wearing this 2 nights ago. This is called Kalen by Parfums de Marly. I put this on, and within 5 minutes, it was developing really fast. So I grabbed my notepad, and started writing all this down so I wouldn't forget. So I wrote down smooth and sweet. That's what I got in the initial opening. It was really smooth, really sort of gourmand sweet. Um, a melon slash orange creamsicle came in, and then all of a sudden there was like this really intense woods. It was really dark, intense woods that come in for a couple of minutes, and then that went away. And then I started getting cardamom, and then about 10 or 15 minutes in, I started getting something that smelled like cotton candy. And with the other notes, along with that cotton candy, I was like, this reminds me of something, but I couldn't pinpoint it at first. So I waited, and all of a sudden it hit me what this smelled like. This is a clone of Baccarat Rouge 540 Eau de Parfum by Maison Francis Kurkdjian. And I was like, is this really a clone, or am I just like imagining it? So I waited a while, and I was like, the longer I waited, the more it started smelling like Baccarat Rouge. So I was like, I want to make sure. So I waited 1 more hour, and I was like, this is it. This is a clone of Maison Francis Kurkdjian Baccarat Rouge 540. And I was like, son of a gun. And then something popped into my mind that pops into my mind occasionally over the last year. And that's the way I feel about clones and clone houses. I started thinking about that. And then I started getting mad and I started getting upset. And I was like, I made up my mind right then, that night, 2 nights ago. I was like, I'm not going to talk about Parfums de Marly anymore because I decided that I'm not going to have anything to do with clones or clone houses anymore. I'm not going to do any more reviews on clones or clone houses. I'm not going to promote them. I'm not going to talk about them. And especially, I'm not going to buy any. I'm not going to buy any more clones, or clone anything from clone houses anymore. And I'll tell you why. But first, I want to say I have a couple of friends that have clone houses and they sell clones. And I wanted to say up front before I say anything else, I'm not mad at any specific person or people. I just wanted to make sure everybody understands that, because I realize that I know a lot of people do not think about this the same way I do. So if you think I'm mad at you, I'm probably not. This is just my overall feeling about the clone industry inside the fragrance community or inside the perfume world. So what I'm saying doesn't necessarily reflect you the way I feel about you as a person. So I want to make sure everybody understands that. All right, let's get on to the way I feel about clones and clone houses. I think it's theft. And by the way, I'm saying this clone, not cologne like cologne and aftershave. Clones like a carbon copy. That's what I'm saying. I think they are theft and I think they are stealing. And I tried to come up with an example of sort of like an analogy, the way I think about this. All right, here's what I come up with, and I actually really believe this. Imagine you, or like your mom or dad or somebody like that. They have a perfume house or a fragrance house, okay? One day you or your mom and dad or whoever, let's just say you, one day you come up with an idea for a fragrance. And it's going to be really different. It's going to be really unique and unusual. And it's going to be beautiful. And I think of fragrances as art. I don't think of them like just something you put on to smell good. I think of fragrances as art. That's the way I look at it. So you come up with a really good idea on this fragrance you want to create that has this, and this in it as notes and accords. So you start developing it, you start doing research on it, you start the process, which can take a lot of time and a lot of money. If you don't do this fragrance yourself, you hire a perfumer to do it, to work alongside you to create this fragrance, which can be extremely expensive. So you gather all this material, and throughout the next year or two, it's like trial and error. You know, you try something and it doesn't work, and then you have to start all over, and you try this and it doesn't work, and you have to start all over. Finally, you get this fragrance perfect the way you want it, which already a lot of time and a ton of money has already been spent on developing this fragrance. Finally, you come up with it. So you have to pay all the labor, and a lot of time has went by. So now you have to start doing like marketing it and figuring out how to get it out on the market. You know, you start marketing it, you start bottling it, which can take a lot of time and money and people and labor, and then labels and all this taxes and all this kind of stuff that most people don't think of. Finally, you got it bottled. You got your product, you got your art in a bottle. So you finally get it out on the market. in stores and online. The next day, you have somebody from a clone house comes and buys one bottle, takes it back to their laboratory, runs it through a machine, and it tells them exactly what's in it. So what they do is gather some cheaper material, inferior material, and just copy exactly what you did the last 2 years. They just copy it with some materials. They bottle it themselves, put it down on the market, and everybody buys that product from them, and nobody buys it from you, or very little people buys it from you. Most people buy it from the person that stole your product. So all that time and money and effort and sweat was almost a waste of time because somebody stole your product and is selling your product for cheaper. And I think that's really shitty. I think that's shitty. And I don't care. I've had people argue with me about this. I made a post about 6 months ago about this. And I had a couple of people come on my page trying to make an excuse for clones and clone houses. And I get it. I get what they were talking about. It was like, well, a lot of people can't afford, a Creed or whatever, so they have to buy it from Armoff. I get that. I get that thought. But it's still not an excuse. You can't excuse the fact that this is theft and it's stealing and it's destroying other fragrance houses that come up with the idea to begin with and spent all that money on research and all that money on development and all that money on everything, putting it on the market. Somebody steals it from you and then selling your product, and you don't make crap from it. There's no excuse. You cannot come up to me and make an excuse for that. So I decided I will never ever review a clone. I will never promote a clone. I will never have anything to do with Clone House ever again. And I sure won't buy a clone anymore. I probably will, but I won't know it's a clone. I think I probably have fragrances in my collection that are clones and I don't even know it. I had no idea this was going to be a clone until I actually 3 hours into it, and then I realized it was a clone. But I knowingly will never ever buy a clone again. I will never promote a clone house or have anything to do with them because it's stealing and it's theft and it's destroying the houses that came up with this idea and spent all this money to begin with. And I think it's a shitty thing to do, and that's my opinion. So I'm not going to do any more reviews on Parfums de Marly. I'm probably going to take a day off or two of doing fragrance reviews, and then I will start continually doing fragrance reviews, but I want to try to make sure that they're not going to be clones, because I sure the hell am not going to promote any more clones or clone houses. Because I think that's a shitty part of this fragrance community and this fragrance world. I don't like that part about the fragrance community and the fragrance world because it's destroying other houses, and I think it's just a really crappy thing to do that to begin with. So that's my thoughts and feelings. And like I said, you can come up and try to make excuses, saying, well, a lot of people can't afford Creed, so they have to buy it from Armoff. No, they don't. No, they don't. They don't have to. Save your damn money. Save up your money and buy what you want to instead of buying it from a thief or a person that steals products and selling it for cheaper. You don't have to buy anything. Save up your money like I do. The next time I want to buy an expensive fragrance, and then there's an alternative for half price, I'll keep saving my money and buy that from the people that come up with the idea to begin with. So no, you don't have to do anything you don't want to. Save up your money and buy it. That's my opinion, and I will be back in a day or two, hopefully with a fun video. Speaking of fun, who wants to see me go back to doing my naked fragrance reviews? Raise your hand. No? Nobody? Okay. Anyway, I love you guys, and I will talk to y'all later.